Hello art friends, and hello April. My name is Fleshwad, and today I have another Drawing Your Creepypasta OCs video for you, April Fool's Edition. Make sure to watch this video in the dark with the lights off and your headphones on for the best viewing experience. Stay tuned until the end of the video to find out how to enter for the next Drawing Your Creepypasta OCs video. Just a Joke. Submitted by Isabel_Sands YT. Clara hated the 1st of April. As everyone knows, that day is known as April Fool's Day. Every year, the kids in Clara's class would pull the worst pranks and jokes on her. It all started in grade 5, where she wore a plain white dress her grandmother gave to her before she died, and as soon as Clara walked into the classroom, all the kids dropped a bucket of paint onto her dress. She started to cry, but everyone said it was just a joke. Just a joke. Clara started to laugh with the kids, as if to hide her pain. Grade 8, she was going to confess to her crush, but all the other kids, knowing she is allergic to nuts, told her crush to carry nuts in his pocket because he was the only one who didn't know. Just a joke, just a joke. Last year, grade 9, they switched her hair wash with hair dye and dyed her hair blue and pink. Just a joke, just a joke. She goes by Clara the Clown by everyone else in her class. This year is different. This year, the joke will be the worst one yet. They were planning on killing Clara and ending her sad clown life, as they put it. Clara decided to wear clown makeup to school because she was planning on pranking the girl scared of clowns. She went to the bathroom to touch up her makeup when she heard laughter behind her. Look, here's Clara the Clown. What a joke. Just a joke. They grabbed Clara and stabbed her in the arm. They covered her mouth so her screams could not be heard from outside. They said it's only a joke. Clara started laughing. They lifted their hand off of Clara's mouth just to hear her scream for her death. They go to stab her again, but she kicks one of them, breaking their arm in the process. She grabbed the knife and slit the girls' throats and laughed. With their blood, she writes, "Just a joke." The police have been looking for a girl with blue hair and pink streaks, blue eyes, Caucasian teen around 15, wearing white clown makeup with purple tear streaks and a mask with a clown face. She was last seen wearing a jester clown-like suit. Clara turned off the TV in the house of the people she killed. She started to laugh and stabbed herself. "Joke's on you," she says as she dies. On April Fools, watch out for the clown laughter, or you might get hurt. But you know, it's just a joke, right? That Wasn't a Joke. Submitted by Sundari-san. Jake always had a secret admirer. He wasn't sure who, but he had one. He always got notes from his locker or desk. Jake didn't really care. April Fool's was near. The last admirer note was in the beginning of March. It said, "You feel the same way, right, Jake?" He threw it away as soon as he got it. He felt weird throwing that note away, like someone was watching him. The bell rang and it was time to go home. He checked his locker then. Another note came in. It read, "Why did you do that, Jake? That wasn't a joke, you know. Forget it. I'll see you soon." I'll see you soon? What was that supposed to even mean? This time he didn't throw it away. He kept it in his pocket, trying to figure out how soon was soon. The next day was April Fool's. He had the day off, so he decided to chill out with his friends, maybe play a couple of pranks. That's when he saw hundreds of notes saying, "Today's the day, today's the day, today's the day." over and over again, leading all the way to the front door. But before he could make it, something hit him in the back of his head. The last thing he saw from his house was a note from his mother, saying, "Out with friends, I'll be back by dinner." When he woke up, a dark-skinned woman with long blue hair was putting a mask on. "Who are you?" Jake said. She giggled. She didn't sound at all human. Her voice was distorted. "Hello, sweetie," was all Jake could make out. The rest was static. "Who are you?" Jake repeated. A static scream came out, and she said, "The love of your life, darling. Who else could I be, Jake?" Her voice was now horribly distorted. He really couldn't even make out what she was saying. She put her foot on his knee and pulled out a gun and said, "Love me or I'll throw away your life, just like the letter." Jake, fearing his life, agreed. If you're lucky, you'll see Jake on the bus going to meet her on April Fools. April Fools, submitted by Ilis Lenny. April Fools. That was the name she was given at birth. The reason was really stupid, actually. Her father thought her birth was a joke, so when the nurse asked them to think of a name, which her father didn't hear, he yelled, "April Fools." She was a beautiful girl when she turned 18. Her hazel hair was curly, with a light shade of pink on top of her head. Some people thought it was fake, even though it was natural. Her eyes were a mix of toxic green, bright blue, and a pure golden. It was a beautiful thing to see. Her face was round and her skin was as fair as that of Snow White. Everything about her was perfect. Even though she was as beautiful as the heavens, bullies still took it upon themselves to make her life miserable. Blinding her with pepper spray, stabbing her with a knife of 14 centimeters tall and 4 millimeters thick. She never showed or told though. She couldn't imagine what they'd do if they found out she told or showed someone. Her birthday, which was the 31st of March, was on a Friday, which meant April Fools would be the next day. But because her school was full of grown toddlers, they wanted to do April Fools on her birthday. She really wasn't in the mood for it that day. She wished she could stay home, but she knew her father would force her to school. So on that day, that fateful day, she went to school. Now I'm going to send you to the bullies. They were planning to do an extreme prank that involved knives. One of them offered April a drink. Little did she know he had put in sleeping pills, so she dropped unconscious, as if she died of a heart attack. When she woke up, she found herself to be tied to a spinning wheel. You know, one that those game shows always use. Yeah, that. Her mouth was taped and she was almost naked. Only her upper body was showing. She began to panic, struggling to get free and tears streaming down her cheek. Why would they do that? She saw something glistening. A knife? Multiple knives. They threw knives all over her upper body. Then, one hit her heart. They laughed as she began losing consciousness. The last thing she heard was, "April Fools," being whispered in her ear. The guys never felt guilty, not once, not even when they saw on the news and had seen the dead bodies of their friends. That night, only the leader was left. He was just eating popcorn when he felt something in his back. He looked behind himself and almost screamed. It was April. Her eyes were bleeding, and she had this creepy grin on her face. He was stabbed in his heart. He could still see her write something on the wall with his blood. "What are you writing?" He could ask before his vision faded to black. Last thing he heard was a whisper, "April Fools." April Rules, submitted by Skittles Lover. When April was 10, she hated her name because that day she went to school and a group of boys walked up to her. "Hello, April." April jumped. She hadn't realized someone was behind her. She felt weird. She looked to the ground to see her hair everywhere. She touched her hair to realize it was ear length. "April Fools!" The boys ran from April, and from then on, this happened till she was 14. At 14, she's had enough of the bullying. When a group of boys and girls came up to her in front of the school, she was ready. "Hey, April," a girl yelled. She turned and walked up to them. "April Fools!" she screamed, and beat the kids almost to death. She ran for it. As she got home, her parents slapped her on the cheek. "Young lady, go to your room." She was in tears when she heard her mother say something under her breath. "April Fools, I can't believe she's my child." April was angry. Later that night, she snuck downstairs and grabbed a knife and some pills. She grabbed her mom's juice and her dad's alcohol and put the pills in. She glanced at the top of her fridge and saw rat poison. She grabbed that too and dumped it into the drinks. "April Fools, April Rules," she quietly squeaked. She grabbed the knife and carved a huge smile on her face. She placed all the stuff back except the knife. She trudged back to her room and stayed up and waited. She saw her mom drinking the juice and her dad with the alcohol. Her dad started coughing until blood came out. Both of her parents were dead. She sat them at the couch. She carved smiles into their faces. She used their blood to spell April Fools, April Rules. Later, she called her bullies to her house and killed them too. She carved smiles on them too. She giggled. "April Rules, April Fools." April later took out all their hearts and ate them. She took out her heart and ate it. She soon died. Now she is said to stalk mean people on April Fools and drag them around on cement and write, "April Rules, April Fools," until they die. She's been doing this since she died. It's been 5 years since she died. But one thing stood out about April. She carried a doll made of human skin and blood, each piece from the people she killed. Thank you to everyone who submitted a story. I'm thinking for the next Drawing Your Creepypasta OCs, we do something related to a theme instead of related to a holiday. And I'm also thinking that I want it to be a more general theme. So my idea is less OC based and more environment based. So for the next Drawing Your Creepypasta OCs, I kind of want to just do Drawing Your Creepypastas, which means less centered around an OC or person and more centered around maybe groups of people or an environment or a place. If that makes sense, I'll leave more info in the pinned comment. And I get a lot of comments saying that I probably won't choose, your story, and I get that, but I wanted to give you guys some idea of what I look for when I choose OCs to draw. So what I look for is, first of all, you have to have a description. I will not pick a story without a description. And you can't say, here's my OC, you make up the story, because I'm supposed to be reading your stories, not self-written ones in these. So if you don't have a story, I'm not going to make up a story for you. Last thing I look for is grammar. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not perfect either, but it has to be readable at least. Like I have to at least know what you're trying to say. So maybe just reread it before you post it, and make sure that it can make sense to anybody who reads it. Last but not least, I usually won't read stories that are like like 2 to 5 sentences. I like to have a little bit longer of a story. They don't need to be super long, but at least 2 to 3 minutes worth of reading. Maybe I'll make one where I read super short stories. Let me know in the comments if that's something that you'd be interested in. Yeah, always feel free to ask in the comments. You can submit stories more than once. If you have any other questions, just ask and I will try my best to answer all of them. Thank you so much for watching, art friends. Can't wait to read your environment-themed creepypasta stories. Until the next video, bye!